The start of the F1 season has brought us many surprises. One of them was the bad performance of Mercedes, as many fans were caught by the team's lack of race pace and overall ability to keep up with the big guys. But what caused this inability in the first place? For starters, we could say that the new regulations have caught up teams off guard as they had to face one major problem: porpoising. We'll explain in a bit what porpoising means, but this phenomenon happens to all of the teams, such as Ferrari. Yet, you see them absolutely destroying the competition, even with their car bouncing wildly on the tracks. With this phenomenon, Leclerc has been able to win 2 races so far, as he was on pace to win the Barcelona GP by a wide margin if the engine didn't fail. Even on one occasion, Leclerc has said that the porpoising problem is not affecting his performance. On the contrary, it makes the drive better, and it's not necessarily a bad thing that the car experiences the bouncing effect, especially on tracks that have long straights such as Miami and Australian GP. Porpoising, as you probably have already learned, is a new phenomenon that appears to the now heavier F1 cars in 2022. It happens because the car gains and then loses a massive amount of downforce, resulting in the car being unstable and bouncing on the straight. Mercedes haven't been able to get on top of the problem, something that Red Bull has surely beaten from the very start of the season. Mercedes has even sacrificed some car features that aren't supposed to be sacrificed, such as ride height. If the car ride is higher, then the car should porpoise less due to air not being able to stall on the rear of the car. However, it will lose a massive amount of downforce, which is much needed for the car to gain speed, and it will increase the drag, meaning that the lap time will be increasingly slow compared to other cars. On the other hand, if you make the ride height too low, then the air will stall in the rear part of the car as the car will lose downforce on the way to doing so. After that, the car will rise from the ground and will go on to receive a huge amount of downforce. This continuous process is, in fact, porpoising, as the car is seen bouncing on the track while it experiences these changes. Yet, Barcelona GP has shown that Mercedes isn't porpoising at all. In fact, one could say that the car is now looking very much like Red Bull in terms of this matter. However, you could still hear the noise of porpoising when the camera is on Russell or Hamilton's car as one element of the ground that is supposed to make sparkles due to attractiveness is hitting the floor much more frequently than it should. Nevertheless, the car seemed way more confident and more stable, which has been utilized very well by Russell and Hamilton. Hamilton has received a puncture after his collision with Magnussen, resulting in him pitting in the first lap. When he came back from the pits, he even suggested to his engineer that if it was up to him, he'd save his engine for next time, suggesting that he likes to retire. Encouraging words have been said from his engineer, as he said that the team believes Hamilton could achieve P8 or higher. And they weren't wrong. Hamilton finished P5, and he also managed to pass Sainz for P4, but was forced to let him by after a potentially serious problem would leave him and Russell DNF in the last 2 laps. It was already known that Mercedes plans to bring a huge package of updates for the Barcelona GP. However, nobody expected Mercedes to fix the porpoising problem that quick. Yes, 5 races have passed by, and the brilliant minds that work as engineers should have understood the problem, but getting on top of it in such a direct and quick manner has surprised all of the P1 paddocks. So, what changes did Mercedes make in order to stop their car from bouncing? Mercedes have added a slot to the outer edge of the floor, which improved the performance of the car when it's lowered to the ground. Apart from this, Mercedes has added a new bib wing that is added to the keel in the middle of the car. The bib wing has 2 purposes. The first one is generating a more localized load and sending a vortex under the main floor. It's safe to say that even the 6th race is a quick time for Mercedes to fix the porpoising problem, as we already mentioned earlier in the video, that the team was forced to run the car much higher. Therefore, it makes no sense to bring updates to a car that isn't run properly, as it would be a total waste of resources, which are very limited this year. When Mercedes found the perfect ride height, they decided to make fixes regarding the aerodynamic structure of the car. For instance, they added a new front wing end plate design that made a gentle curve inboard to improve flow to the rear of the car. Also, Mercedes has a new lower deflector in play at the rear in order to help increase performance from the diffuser. Making all these changes have enabled the Mercedes team to understand how porpoising works, but there is still so much that needs to be worked out to stop the porpoising effect. Mercedes have still porpoised at some points in the track, mostly at the high-speed turn 3 and 9. But the immense progress is there, and the car has accepted the updates. According to George Russell and Toto Wolff, it behaves like a championship car now. Mercedes cars were also running on a different setup, as Hamilton said that George's car was set up much better in qualifying, while his was set to be better in the race. The differences aren't big, they are just small tweaks that seem to add a little boost to the respective events they are racing. Now, the additional performance boost can be added because it seems like the core of the car is there, and you can only improve from this point on. The Mercedes cars have managed to finish in every race so far, and George Russell is the main contributor of points to the team. Even with all their problems and their bad performance, Mercedes has still managed to keep the number 3 spot in the Constructors' Championship, mostly due to their main rivals failing to finish the races. The most important thing for an F1 car is to finish the race, and so far Mercedes seems to understand this better than other teams. Leclerc's Ferrari was absolutely amazing in Barcelona, but the car had some reliability issues and it failed to finish. This has enabled Verstappen to pass him and other drivers to close in the margin on him. So Mercedes' changes have enabled them to unlock the full potential of the car, and therefore they make their car faster and more reliable. This has seemed a very far-fetched situation for them at the beginning of the season, but the team seem to have managed to get on top of it. However, the team has spent a majority of its budget cap, and it's still race 6, meaning that they will have to be very, very careful when it comes to spending money in the future. If you liked our video, please leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications of our channel. This will help us grow as an F1 channel, as your opinion matters the most to us. Based on your comments and your opinion, we make changes that will make you enjoy our videos and our analysis even more.